All right, yes, sir. We're live. We got big energy, big takes, and the biggest stories in sports. Welcome to the morning run. Let's get it in. All right, good morning. Welcome to our show once again. We're live. Uncle Neely, Dukes the Scoop. Oh, something else is live too.
No, we good.
Okay, you got it. But wake up, lock in with your favorite trio, Uncle Neely, Dukes the Scoop, and BiggDogg Chico, as we break down the latest in sports, in the sports world, should I say, from the hottest headlines to the wildest debates. We've got everything you need to start your day like a champ. NBA drama, we got it. NFL matchups and madness, say less. NFL, or should I say MLB, college sports, and everything in between. Y'all stay with us right here. Drop your takes in the chat. Hit the like button, and let's get rolling. This is the morning run. Oh, now Dukes, what's happening, Unc? Talk to me. Let's get it going.
Hey, I'm down here in the Senior Bowl on location. You got to forgive my backup camera, but man, it's been good to kind of get some feedback from some of these NFL guys, and not just on the Senior Bowl, but also the East West Shrine Bowl. As Uncle Neely let people know earlier in the week, a lot of the people that are here already were at the East West Shrine Bowl, and they finished the week in Mobile. So it's been an exciting time, and I'm excited to kind of share some of what I've learned so far in the week. What's up with you, Uncle Neely?
Man, it's all good in the hood, my brother. You know, I appreciate you acknowledging the commentary previously in the week, but like I've tried to tell folks and will continue to tell them, when it comes to these invite bowls, these special edition bowl games that are after the season, the scouts, the general managers, the vice presidents of player personnel, they are there for practice. They could care less about a game. They want to see your individual drills. They want to see your one-on-one battles. They want to interview you back in the hotel room. They want to get you on the whiteboard, diagramming plays. They want to get to know you. By the time the game comes, the NFL folks are out of there. And so they all left Dallas, Texas, and are now down to the Senior Bowl with Deuce Scoop. And by the time that Senior Bowl kicks off, they're going to be out of there too, because their notes and their work will be done.
Yes, we're going to definitely get into some more insights from the Senior Bowl with you, Phillip Dukes, my main man. But we're going to – I got some questions. We talked about the Shrine Bowl, and some of our guys who were there didn't actually play in the game. Anybody has any insights or thoughts of why we might not have seen Jimmy Horn Jr. or any other several other players that were supposed to be in the Shrine Bowl play in the actual game?
Well, I don't want to speculate too much, because it could be a laundry list of things, all the way to just not feeling like it. But for the most part, you know, you will even have the teams whisper in your ear like, "Hey, dog, you good? You don't have to play in this. You don't want to." Your agents, your handlers, your own body. Once you've done your thing in practice, done your thing in interviews, you know what you do in the game really has so little to do with you. You know, the coaches that come from the NFL and what they're scheming up and what they're working on and what they're looking at may not involve you. And once you know that, it's in your best interest, you know, not to participate. Because one thing you got to understand, when you come into those games with a big name, people want to make their name off of you. So Shedeur Sanders is not going to play with an offensive line he doesn't know. So some defensive end can get a vicious sack on him and make a name for himself. You know, it's the same thing if you're a receiver. If we're not going to get a ball thrown our way, if that's not the scheme of this offense and this coaching staff that's here, I did my thing in practice. Let me shut it down and get ready for my individual workouts. So it could be anything from having tweaked something to all the way to just like it's not in my best interest to do this right now.
Yeah. What do you think, Duke?
Yeah, I would have to agree. There could be a myriad of reasons why you wouldn't have seen a guy like Jimmy Horn Jr. yesterday in the game. It could be something as simple as a simple tweak, a rolling of the ankle. And this is not inside information. I'm just saying things that could have happened. And at the end of these games, you, especially East West Shrine Bowl, once you practice and you've shown what you can do, then it's all right. Do you want to go out there and knock knees with somebody else? Do you want to go out there and get your ankle rolled up even more in a game where they're going to go back and look at the film of that game, because the majority of the NFL is here right now, and then it was split. Now, a lot of the NFL people went to the Pro Bowl yesterday. So, like, even with the game down here yesterday, I got one of the leading front office man in the league after practice broke yesterday was saying, hey, we want to see all you guys on Saturday, knowing that they had to kind of recruit guys to stay for Saturday because they know that most of the meat on the bone happens when Monday through Wednesday when it comes to Senior Bowl. So, yeah, I don't think it's a major deal not seeing Jimmy and Cam, Silman, Craig. But I do think that what you were able to see out of the guys who did play did help, a little bit, especially when you have to the school of social media, the school of thought with social media, where you could take clips and make them look how you want to. It was good to kind of even see Shiloh put out some film in real time. So I thought that even though some guys didn't play, the guys who did, it didn't hurt them. It didn't hurt them at all.
Yeah, I think Shiloh played the most, so he might have helped this draft stock the most, being that he had the most to put on film and played very well. Had some pass breakups, some good tackles, some sure tackles, and was bouncing around all over the field, playing fast. And I think that's what the scouts wanted to see from Shiloh overall. So,
I don't know if Shiloh took a tremendous bounce, and I'm gonna tell you why. That's no shade on him. Outside of Shedeur Sanders coming from Colorado, the rest of the guys coming from Colorado, Shiloh coming into the East Shrine Bowl was the only one guaranteed to be drafted, and I think he's still guaranteed to be drafted. So I think what he did was just solidify what people were already seeing and thinking. From his flipping of his hips, able to get around and being able to come up and stop the run and willingly make tackles, throwing his body into tight spaces. Paul's no Diddy. I think he showed them some things in the game that you're not allowed to show in practice because a hard-hitting safety like Shiloh Sanders, when you're practicing for one of these invite bowls, you just don't hit like that, in practice. So I think he maintained, which is a good thing. Because he was already coming to that game and someone was going to be drafted. Who I think, emerged, from that sleeper kind of standpoint was Will Sheppard. I think everybody knew about LaJohntay Wester because you watched the season. Everybody had speculation about Jimmy Horn because you saw last year and some glimpses this year and he was injured. So I think he did well for himself. And he was already an NFL combine invite, so his speed is going to show up there. So when you just put everything – on the countertop and lay it out side by side, I really think it was Will Sheppard who got the most out of this East-West Shrine invite because he came in with people going, I think I remember that guy at Vanderbilt didn't see too much of Colorado, but he turned some damn heads this week at the East-West Shrine Bowl. So I think he got the biggest boost from being able to participate.
Now we're talking about the combine that's coming up, pro day coming up. Let me ask you guys a specific question right here. What do each of these guys, Cameron Silman Craig, Shiloh, Wester, Horn, and Sheppard, what do they need to run in the 40 to up their draft? Like, what would their number be? What would that target number be for them to run, for them to up their draft stock and possibly get drafted?
I think when it comes to the combine, the way it breaks down is you have your league average speed. And there's data that shows everybody who came to the combine over the past 30, 40 years, whatever, however long, right? There's an average speed that goes, and you go look at the year before and you go say what the average speed was. So you can just basically go, if you run above average, what you don't want to be, below average. Above average means faster, so that's why I say below. But if you need to beat the average time. So for a safety, average time was like 4.65 last year. You need to be in the 4.6s at least to get a look. 4.5 would be good for safety. Wide receivers, 4.4. You want to be in the 4.4s. So that would be that for Wester, Sheppard, and with like a bigger wide receiver like Sheppard, he could see him. He could be 4.5. You could even potentially see him be 4.6 and still not affect anybody the way that he goes for the ball. When you look at what you need from him, right? Which is to win those one-on-one situations. Yes, anything below 4.5 is going to be icing on the cake for him. And then so at safety, so like to your point, both safeties need to run 4.6 in at least 4.6. If you look at probably one of the most dynamic safeties in the NFL right now, Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame. Yeah, he's 6'4", but what did he run? He ran 4.64. Keon Coleman last year, Buffalo Bills, second round pick, 6'4", 4.6. So you can see there's a sliding scale based on the average times based on your size. So I think that for the safeties, but to answer your question specifically, the safeties need to run in the 4.6s, and you will hope that the wide receivers will run at least 4.5 with some high end 4.4 kind of range.
Yeah, I think Dukes, I love the way you put that all together because you gave some specific information, but you had to do it, around some generalities as well. Because from a general standpoint, you expect a certain speed from a certain position, but from a specific standpoint, I can assure you that if there's a team out there looking to draft a Will Shepherd, they could care less if it's 4.5, 4.6, 4.6.5. They're getting him for his catch radius, his 50-50 ball at the back of the end zone. And plays like that really don't amount to how damn fast you got back there because, hell, the ball is on the 30 anyway, so you're going to get back there. I think that sometimes these 40 times just come down to just, people wanting to compare and celebrate. But when you're looking what you need for your individual team, I need my safety, to be faster than a tight end and running back. He's running up on the tackle. I need him to be able to go from hash to hash, which ain't 40 yards apart. Hell, the field is just 53 yards wide, and he ain't going from sideline to sideline. And so I think some of these nuances about speed, are attractive to certain positions. But when you really just certain individuals, I should say, but when you really look at what a team is looking for, they know what they need and what they don't put a high premium on speed wise. I think it's the Jimmy Horn Jr.'s and LeJounte Westers who have proven they can catch the ball, proven they have every route in the route tree under their command. What is really going to propel them if they can nail that 4.3, if they can get that real nice low number, then it's like, damn, all things being equal, I got to draft this guy just off his speed and potential alone.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, real quick,
the NFL values that speed too, especially a team like the Raiders, who love to draft guys who run that low 4.3 and below mark in the 40 time. Go ahead, Dukes.
Yeah, to piggyback on that too, and when you want to look at, and the most important part of the 40 is the first 10. You're gonna see people look like the first thing that you run, and Chico, you know this too, and I know Uncle Neely knows this, but they're looking at your 10-yard split.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day in the NFL, the most important distance when it comes to consistency is the 10 yards that you run for a first down. So whatever your 10-yard split is, can you get there? Because you have to think about it like this. Tom Coughlin used to make this so apparent. How many times do you actually run 40 yards in a football play?
Exactly.
Like, how many times are you literally running 40 yards every time? So yeah, that's top end speed, and it's basically all it is judging is basically an identifier for traits and explosion. So after that, the broad jump is going to be important. They want to know how much explosion, how much twitch you have. But all of these are just identifiers because they're always going to be outliers. Because how many 4.2 guys have we seen that never make it in the NFL? And how many 4.6, 4.7 guys that play? Do y'all not remember Vontaze Burfict ran a 5 foot?
Yep.
Yeah, Vontaze Burfict played 1,000,000 years in NFL at middle linebacker and ran over a 5.40. So
if you ever need proof of that concept, let me borrow my good man Duke the Scoop catchphrase. You ever need proof of concept, go back and watch Tom Brady's combine performance. Go back and look at Tom Brady with his shirt off. None of it was impressive, to say the least. And currently, he's the GOAT when it comes to quarterbacks and getting teams to the Super Bowl. So again, I say, Deuce, I think it's what people are looking for. It'd be wonderful if a long-legged, big body Will Shepherd was to run a 4.5. But man, with that catch radius in those hands, and you giving me a 30 or 20-yard route to the back of the end zone, who gives a damn if he runs a 4.7? Like it's his ability to catch and come down with the ball that nobody else can come down with that's going to get him playing on Sundays.
Yes.
Game speed is a real thing. Like, and I think a lot of times we forget that there really is a such thing as game speed. Now, in the pre-testing process, in the pre-draft testing process, you're gonna have guys who go like Jimmy Horn. That's somebody who can't wait to go run because he got it. Like, he can't wait to run because that's his field house. I think LeJounte West is gonna surprise some people too. And not even really surprised, but those are two guys that they got their combine invites. Why? Because people want to see them run. They want to see if it's real. Because when you look at them, it looks 4.4. Jimmy Horn sometimes really be looking 4.3. So I think as long as they'll continue to work on their stars, they are one of the best training facilities when it comes to having the fat. I think XPE last year, I don't think anybody had more guys who ran below average. Who ran above average, which was below the time of the average at their position than XPE. and they had multiple 4.2s out of their training facility, including Nate Wiggins with the Ravens last year, who had a great year, but who went 4.2, and nobody expected him to go 4.2. So I think that they went to the speed people, and I think they're going to run well.
One more log on that fire, if I may, Big Dog Chico, that we outside of the NFL sometimes discount and don't pay enough attention to. Just like colleges have strength and conditioning programs, and they want to look at people's flexibility and what they bring to the table and how they can get them better. The NFL is doing the same thing. Like so much of your workouts when you become a professional are on your own, but they got a strength staff too when you go to the Cowboys, and they know how to get things out of you that didn't get out of you in college or high school for that matter. And so you want to look at, some of the natural things that a guy can do. What's his natural benchmarks, his natural strength on the bench press, his natural speed. And then we're going to put him in situations where he can be the best that he can be. Because sometimes a joker's fast as hell in a straight line, but he ain't too fast when he got a cut. So they're going to learn that about you, and they're going to let you run the routes that work for you and the team.
He ain't too fast when he has to cut, nor is he as fast when he has these pads and helmets on and big guys trying to tackle him and hit him. And once you get hit a couple times, you're, I don't know if I could take that. But I will say this, and it was very, widespread. Everybody knew this when I was in college. Everybody know it now, but everybody was harping on it when I was in college because we were running a 40 and only one person ran like a 4.4. That was Roddy White. But our coach made it clear that, hey, man, listen, man. Shout out to Richard Moncrief, the greatest wide receiver of all times. Hell, he only ran a 4.7. And that's Jerry Rice out of Mississippi Valley State. So that game speed, is a factor. It showed up in the game once he was running routes and catching the passes. They wasn't able to hawk him down from behind. So, 40-yard speed and game speed, something totally different. So I'm glad Uncle Neely said that.
And please keep this in mind as we discuss my homeboy, Jerry Rice, right out of Crawford, Mississippi, son of a bricklayer, grew up catching bricks.
Gold fingers.
One thing about his speed, you might get him in the 40 in the first heat, but Jerry Rice ran the same damn speed all the way through overtime. And that's what really separated him. Everybody else got tired, and he either maintained or got faster, and then he subsequently got faster because everybody else was getting slower throughout the game. There was no quit or no tiring him. And so you better believe these NFL scouts, these GMs, these player personnel people, they're measuring heart too. Like they're measuring how often this guy doesn't quit and get right back up and can do the same thing the fifth time like he did it the first time. Everybody can do it the first time, but who can do it the 10th time at the same level?
Right. That's why you see those guys running those 10, 100-yard gassers and then 50 or 550-yard gassers out there when they're working out with Coach Swayze and stuff. Those gassers, get you in that game shape that you want to be in. And it's going to separate the men from the boys off the top. So we're going to get into Dukes the Scoop, who was just at the Senior Bowl practices, or he's still there.
He's still there. Dukes the Scoop is on site, baby, on scene. He is in Mobile, Alabama, baby.
Shout out to the 251 down in Mobile, Alabama. How's it been down there? Who are some of the standout guys that you've seen so far, Dukes?
Man, I think there's a couple of guys. So right now, it's a really cool atmosphere. There are some guys who are down here because they didn't have everything put together already. Like a guy who's helped himself a lot. Two guys from UGA for sure. Smile Monday, linebacker from UGA, he played 4 years, had some injury concerns, but he came out first 2 days. He damn near won every one-on-one rep. I think he lost a couple yesterday, but still he's gotten a ton of attention for teams. Landon Jackson from Arkansas, big-time defensive end. He's actually helped himself being here. Another guy is Arian Smith from UGA. Now this guy ran a 10-200 in high school and was looked at as only a speed guy. But he's been winning one-on-ones and he's been stacking people, and I think that he's helped himself tremendously. And I think Shamar James is somebody else. And these linemen, hold up. Mike Green from Marshall.
He's been out there balling, killing people.
Man, everybody's just watching the clips of where he's blowing these guys up. But it's not just that clip. It's consistent. I 1,000% that Mike Green from Marshall, if you're a team that's in the market for a defensive end or edge rusher, Falcons, this is a guy that you should be looking at. When you talk about being able to translate speed to power, all of the catchphrase. They got all these catchphrases, these new cool terms. Oh, can he do speed to power, lower band? I have to pick them up because I do. But man,
yeah,
you don't have to do all of that with this kid. He's just a baller, and you can see it. And he walks with confidence, and he has that group of 5 chip on his shoulder. Like, this is what I was missing. Oh, okay, cool. Let me show you about group of 5, and that's what he's been doing since he got here. So, if anybody helped himself the most, he went from a guy who was maybe top 100 to, I think he has a real shot at the first round.
Love it, man. I love the Senior Bowl. What takes place there? I've worked about 5 Senior Bowls in the past, man. It's an excellent atmosphere down in Mobile. Quite a skip. Almost had the Senior Bowl moving over to New Orleans once upon a time, but the city, Mobile, and Nagy, everybody to get together, and it's still there for the foreseeable future. But just a great atmosphere to talk ball. One of the things I want to pick your brain on, Dukes and Chico. Once upon a time, like when I say I've worked 5 Senior Bowls, that's over the past 10 years. And the Senior Bowl was the end-all, be-all. But, I mean, now, like, the attention that the East-West Shrine is getting and the players they invite, almost going head-to-head for this part of the week, you're really seeing a lot of the NFL and scouts and even players choosing which one they go to. East-West is nipping on the Senior Bowl's heels, man, as far as where you want to be this week.
Well, tell us the difference in those two. I had some people ask questions. What's the difference in the East-West Shrine and the Senior Bowl? Why Shadur's at this one and not at that one if he's the top pick? I see Jalen Miro. We'll get into that in a second. But what's the difference in those 2 bowls, guys?
Dukes?
I would probably just say location. They've both been doing it for a long time. It ain't a whole lot different because the Senior Bowl, I would say, probably has been considered to be the gold standard for so long. But I think it's also about the advertising dollars that come into the Senior Bowl and the way that the Senior Bowl affects the city. So they're going to it's like you're going to get more for your money, and there's going to be a lot of money poured into the Senior Bowl because of what it does for Mobile as a whole. When you look at how during this time in Mobile, you can go ask anybody in Mobile about what's going on this week, and they're going to tell you Senior Bowl, and then it's going to be Mardi Gras. There's a big draw for the city. Dallas East-West Shrine Bowl is just another thing going on in an already metropolitan city. So it's going to be a little bit of a difference. But as these guys, as the East-West Shrine Bowl continues to make great evaluations and are having guys come into that bowl game and continue to get drafted, and the Senior Bowl, which is, hey, the Senior Bowl is going to look at it like it's almost like SEC versus Big 12. And the reason I'm saying that is this, because for a long time, everybody thought that, if you want to be great, what conference do you have to play in? You have to play in SEC. And I think that's kind of what it was with the Senior Bowl, where just the brand recognition was so high because of the advertising dollars before that were coming into the Senior Bowl allowed for you to make that decision. Like, oh, I see the Senior Bowl. Oh, NFL Network. Oh, yeah, we got Senior Bowl, right? Okay, cool. But as the East-West Shrine Bowl has continued to nail their evaluation, get guys who are being drafted, and kind of raise their level of their profile, as you see now, they're nationally televised on Thursday night. Now it's starting to be like, you can just kind of take your pick, because now when I say more high-end talent is going to be at the Senior Bowl, probably so. But what I would say, like with a guy like Shadur being in Dallas already, how much more of a profile boost was that for the East-West Shrine Bowl to have the Sanders family in that game? So I think when you know what you're worth, like last year, Edge Cooper, number 1 linebacker off the board, had a great season with the Packers. East-West Shrine Bowl. Didn't make sense to a lot of people. He went to where he was going to be comfortable at, and somewhere he was already training in Dallas. Made sense for him. So I think going forward, it's going to be proximity, location, and familiarity that are going to pretty much determine where a lot of players choose to go. And because every player is not going to get both invites. And you got sometimes Senior Bowl guys, and you got East-West Shrine Bowl guys. So I would still consider it to be 1A, 1B, but based on your individual star power and your individual cachet is going to make the decision based on where you go.
I love that, Dukes. I love it. A lot of put him back on the screen. I want to look at my man. A lot of
you sound like Stephen A. Bring the screen back up.
It was a lot of facts, nothing but facts, but a lot of political correctness. You don't want to step on no toes. while you're down in Mobile. I feel you. I love it. The Senior Bowl, man, just has this historicness to it that people know that the quote unquote best guys are going there, and it's guys who have the promise of being drafted early. And I think what has happened, whereas the East-West Shrine has been a back seat to them for so many years, I think what's happened, Dukes, because you touched on, and this is the part where I was teasing about being politically correct. I think the evaluators have been getting it so right at East-West that when you look at when the drafts actually happen, the East-West Shrine players have been performing better in the draft than the Senior Bowl players as of late. And as of late could be a 4 or 5 year window, particularly pandemic to now. And so I think that's giving more credibility to the East-West, is that they get it right at a high percentage, whereas the Senior Bowl, it's just that thing because it's been that thing. And then when Reese's comes on as a sponsor and the city of Mobile doing all the things they did to keep it from going to New Orleans, it just still adds to that mystique of it. But when it gets down to the nut crunching of evaluation and football being football, don't sleep on the East-West Shrine and taking the invite there. I'm looking forward to the next 5 years and see even if East-West, just like in this real world of Big Ten passing or catching up or passing the SEC, I won't be surprised it happens with these 2 invite bowls as well.
Yeah. Of course, while I'm down here with this great invite that I got,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna make sure. Like, look, the funny thing about East-West Shrine Bowl versus Senior Bowl, man, that thing like Biggie and Tupac, man. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah, look.
Hey, the people at the top.
When Chico had you on the screen by yourself, I was back here laughing. Do you remember he asked the question? I said, Dukes, you.
Like, hey, let me tell you something. Like, so man, shout out to the leaders of both bowls, Eric Galco, East-West Shrine Bowl, and Jim Nagy down here. Jim Nagy, my partner too. Both of them are partners, man. Good guys, but man, they take it serious, and it's like, they take it serious, and they take that evaluation seriously. And I think, I do think that East-West Shrine Bowl has become a lot more, I guess you want to say a viable threat when it comes, not threat, but a viable resource when it comes to guys. Like they're clearly like head and shoulders above the rest of the pre-draft bowl games. Like,
sure,
and very clearly.
So, and that ain't knocking the Hula Bowl or anybody else, but you're dealing with the top 2 dogs when you talk about East, West, and Senior. That's just the facts.
And you know what I do like? At the Hula Bowl, they say we got to call up to the East, West, or the Senior Bowl. Like, some guys can play their way into the bowl games with there are scouts from the Senior and the East, West that will go to the Hula and look for a guy, because whether it be because of injury, like you look at some of the guys who opted out, or I'm just like, they had to find people to replace who had to play these, because so in some of these bowl games, it's like, hey, I want to play in this game, but my player only has 16 reps for you. I'm sorry, but we're not going to play over 15 because we can't take the injury risk. Well, you got to find guys to go play those other 40 snaps. You got to find on either side of the ball. So I think
you preaching, and let me marry some things right there, because you spot on, Dukes. Once again, you spot on. When you look at once upon a time, 5, 6, 7 years ago, how colleges had to leverage over players. But then when you talk about the transfer portal and you talk about NIL, now at worst case, the college and the player are equal. But in best case, the player has the complete leverage over what he does and his valuation. You're seeing the same thing with these invite bowls, man. Like, you got guys who sitting back and going, no, I'm going to go to this one, when it used to be just, no, if you got an invite to the Senior Bowl, that's where you was going. And that's why you see the Senior Bowl, shout out to Nagy and them, doing creative things like saying, hey, well, starting now, juniors can come, because they know we ain't the only ones at the top no more. Like, the East West is coming up behind us. And one way we can keep the momentum is open the doors to where Travis Hunter could now play in it. Because keep in mind, Travis, because he wasn't participating, so don't take this literal, Travis won the Heisman as a junior. He still has another year left. Traditionally, the Senior Bowl is just for seniors. But now it's like, no, if you're that third-year guy and you're going, you can come play now too. they see the writing on the wall, man, that they're no longer just the only game in town as far as the top tier game. So shout out to them for adapting.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. One player that was at the Senior Bowl, and he's been shooting up the mock draft boards, and that's Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe. Did you have a chance to see him out there at the Senior Bowl throwing these rocket shots that's been reported 75.4 miles per hour? That's higher than anybody else, even including Bills quarterback Josh Allen, who's been known to have a rocket-type arm. Have you seen Jalen Milroe out there throwing rockets and lasers all across the field? How's he look to you?
Anthony Richardson.
Anthony
Like,
Richardson.
Anthony Richardson, that's who Jalen Milroe is. Like, it's going to be based on, you're going to get that type of high-end athleticism at the quarterback position. That's what you see. He's not as tall as Richardson, but when you talk about being put together, someone who has the physical tools to play anywhere on the football field. If he wanted to play linebacker, he could play. He wanted to play safety, he could play. He wanted to play receiver or running back, he could play. But he also just happens to have a cannon attached to his shoulder. So with Milroe is going to be about the offense that you run with him. I would like to see him somewhere with a guy like Todd Monken with the Ravens. The offense that they run, where they tailor that offense to Lamar Jackson's skill set. I think that'll be important. I think fit is everything, and not just for the quarterback position, but for any position. You're not going to see like a guy like Jalen Milroe. You wouldn't see him and Dylan Gabriel succeed in the same type offense at the same level. You would want to see Dylan Gabriel somewhere where he can get the ball out of his hands super, super quick, and then that it's based on pocket presence. Well, Jalen Milroe, you can adjust the pocket to him. You could roll him out more often. He can make that throw on the run. You can get more vertical down the field because guess what? He has the arm to be able to make it. Now you can throw deep outs. And as you guys know, what's one of the toughest the toughest routes to throw in the NFL is the 18-yard out. That's damn near the first quarter. That's the first route in every script and throwing script is, can you throw that 18-yard out because of how important it is to be able to throw it out without it getting undercut. Well, so we could talk about that velocity. Why is that so important? Why is that said, oh, well, he could throw the ball really, really hard or he could throw this fastball. Because when you get down into the 2-minute offense, and an 18-yard out means that I could throw this ball and get out of bounds and get down the field without having to use a timeout. It gets that simple. So can you throw this in 2-minute drill? Because let's say he only throws the ball at 50 miles an hour. Well, you try to throw a deep out to the field or the boundary, no matter. What you think that cornerback going to do?
He's going to break on it.
He's going to break on it. He's going to hit his head on the goal post. Touchdown. If you in Green Bay, that's a Lambeau leap waiting to happen. So I think that's why it's really important for that velocity. And it's one of those telltale things where it's not an exact science by no means. Because we saw Anthony Richardson, we saw him have some struggles in the NFL, but we've also seen immense potential. So the same thing for Jalen Milroe. I think he's helped himself a lot, and he's just I know this ain't a word, but he's a really tradey guy. Really great traits when it comes to athleticism.
Yeah.
Chico, I love the points my right hand man partner in crime Dukes just made, but because he made them so eloquently and excellently, let me take the counterpoint. Even though I ain't saying I agree with the counterpoint, let me step out there and take it. When you see guys at the East-West Shrine Bowl, namely Colorado receivers, not playing, if the damn quarterback can't throw, I don't want him throwing to me. That's impacting my stocks. And it's the same thing for a quarterback. So I appreciate this 74.5 miles per hour velocity, but if an SOB at the Senior Bowl can't catch it, I'm not helping myself in my evaluations. I have to be able to show, yes, I have velocity, what Deuce is talking about, because that out route, I don't need it getting undercut and gone to the house up the sideline. But I also have to be able to throw a ball that people can catch, because that is how we move the ball down the field. So throwing this ball 80 miles per hour only to have no receiver be able to handle it, and I don't have the touch to take it down to 69 in the right situations, that's the real evaluation that's taking place. Love the velocity for the young man. I think it's going to bode well for him. But we also got to be able to throw balls that people can catch.
No, you're right. And I'll say this. And the reason that velocity, whether it be right or wrong, but the reason that it is still looked at that way is because no matter what you do, you can't put it on. But you can always take it off.
It's the same. Look, It's the same thing with defensive line trenches aggression. I would much rather have a guy getting personal fouls that I can coach down than trying to ignite a dog in somebody that I just can't get them going. You're exactly right, dude. Melrose had. I would rather have this outstanding velocity that nobody can catch than this damn slow ball that everybody's undercutting. So you spot on there, coach. You spot on.
Yes, and to be able to throw those out routes from the hash to the numbers, that's going to be big in the NFL because you're going to have those turkey routes, those comeback routes that you have to throw to the sideline. So great points right there. We'll see how it pans out with Jalen Milroe. We did see another quarterback from Alabama, from the state of Alabama, Mobile, Alabama, where you are right now, Dukes, who could throw the ball damn near the whole football field, but struggled once he got into the league because it's a mental part of the ball game. You have to be, especially at the quarterback spot, you have to be a leader and you have to get the playbook. You need to know what everybody is doing. And that's Jamarcus Russell, unfortunately. And I remember the story on him that Gruden put out, not sure how true it was, but allegedly they gave him a compact disc back in the day. Y'all kids might not know what that is, but that's a compact disc.
VHS. It was even further back in the day. That was
VHS. They gave him a VHS, which is even like you can't lose a VHS, how big that is. But they said, "Did you watch it?" And the next morning after they gave it to him, and they said, "Did you watch it?" And he was like, "Yeah, I watched it." But the trick was, it was nothing on the tape.
No, that's a true story.
So, like, you have to watch film. You have to put in the work outside of just having a strong arm. You have to know where to throw it at, how to put touch on the ball, get it over those linebackers in front of the safeties, for those intermediate routes. So, hopefully Milroe get to the right situation, right offensive coordinator, offensive line and receivers to where he can flourish in the NFL.
Chico, if I may for a second.
Yes, sir.
I know this is the morning run in the afternoon. It's still morning, I guess, in Hawaii or the West Coast when we started, but the morning run got a little late start this day, but we still want to bring it to you. But y'all be sure, like we always say, we do joint content now. Like and subscribe to all 3 channels because we're running live on BiggDogg Chico. We're running live on the pregame network, running live on Duke the Scoop channel. If you're in either one of the rooms, give it a thumbs up, turn that notification bell on. It all promotes the show, and you will know when we coming on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with the morning run, even if the morning run is in the afternoon because Neely had the runs.
Crazy, man. Say anything.
I know.
Hey, man, look, I'll take the responsibility and accountability for why we were late. You put it on me, charge that to my account.
I think I was outrunning. Trying to get a jog on, trying to get back in shape. And Neely had the runs.
That's him and toast crunch I had for dinner. They said, "Oh, come here, sit down.
Get over here,
Scorpion, baby.
Bring that ass here, boy."
All
right, my bad, DC Fly. You're gone too far now, Biggs.
Just a little too far.
Yes, we appreciate you guys always tuning in with us. The morning run, you tell me, and also Unc and Chico each and every week. We come to you with more content, giving you the insights and everything about what we can do. Got the scoops, of course. Uncle Neely with the in-depth analysis. What you got about to say? Go ahead. I see you.
I was going to get a scoop from Dukes because he's down there in Mobile. And, like I've shared with the people, man, everything is about practice and the drills you go through, the one-on-one competitions, the interviews, and the whiteboard. But the other big part about the Senior Bowl, at least from my personal and professional experience, is the host hotel hanging out at that bar in the whisper campaigns. Dukes, it was the first time in Senior Bowl where I heard Deion Sanders wanted to coach college and was interested in even coaching the HBCU. And we see how that turned out. So my question to Dukes is, you don't have to say who said it, but what's some of the rumors that's floating around the host hotel bar, man, down there in Mobile? What's the talk of the town?
Man, you know what? I say one of the biggest things that I'm gonna tell you some people talking about, dog. They Jackson Dart going up the board. On Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Jackson, a lot of people were talking about Jackson. It's funny now. I don't even know how you put me at the bar, but okay.
No, come on. Look, it just like Jesus said he was about his father's business. I know my man gonna be where I would be. So I know you at that bar. I ain't said you was pranking. I just know you down at the bar.
Just at the bar.
Hey, Hey, that's where it's going down there. But yeah, 1000% Jackson Dart was a name that I heard a lot of. You know, I'm plucking away and trying to figure out stuff like, you know, what people thought about the Colorado guys, just asking different people. And a lot of people really feel like LaJohntay Wester is like someone who has a real opportunity to do some special things. And not to say that they didn't speak on anybody else, but a lot of people were impressed with LaJohntay Wester, what they saw out of him in Dallas. Also, you know, people started to ask me like what, you know, about Coach Prime a little bit. So I think he's still someone that people are just kind of watching to see what he does, because it's one of those things where, let's say, Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark. Where you see Caitlin Clark at?
Oh no. Hey,
I got a Caitlin Clark right here. We can talk about it if y'all want to, but hey,
Okay,
I don't know
okay.
how Caitlin Clark came up.
Okay. Yeah.
Damn, Caitlin was at the bar.
Yeah. But I was like,
Caitlin at the
whoa.
bar, okay.
Yeah, but now, man, I think a lot of people still want to know what Coach Prime's going to do. I think until that contract gets signed, I think people just realize the type of stroke that he has in the NFL. So I just he but it's crazy. Like no matter where he is, he's a subject of conversation. Like you know,
I'll tell the chat out there, and I know the two of you know it. You know, Chico has been an athlete in the situation, and from Alabama, you working many Senior Bowls I have. The host hotel lobby bar conversation ain't gonna let you down. So I can tell you out to the chat, you want to look like you're an expert, go to your barbershop this weekend, next week, and you start talking up Ole Miss quarterback, and you start talking up LaJohntay Wester, and you start talking up Coach Prime, still has an NFL future, because that bar chatter don't let you down. Like it's the pulse of the league and what's taking place. It's I can't remember the Latin version of it. Maybe it's in vino veritas, but in wine there is truth. When people get that liquor going in them, they start telling them secrets.
Yeah.
He ain't lying.
But I'll say this: I don't think nobody expects Coach Prime. I think people think that Colorado's gonna get it right. I think now that, let me say that from what I'm hearing, like NFL circles, like, but Colorado, they really feel like Coach Prime will be successful in the league, from what I heard. Yeah. But they also feel like Colorado's gonna get it right. And so I think those two things can live in the same atmosphere. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Shout out to Coach Prime, because I think he's happy. And but yeah, man, it's I'll say this, like a lot of last night was a little less because of a lot of people going to Pro Bowl after the third practice, which is the last practice was yesterday. So after that day 3 practice, it's kind of like, all right, we got you know. But there's still some teams here last night, and basically like the players, if you were still talking to a team on day 3, then you could pretty much say you almost guaranteed a 30 visit. And for those that don't know, the 30 visits are where the team can bring you in, and you only get 30, but they get to bring you in like an official visit interview. You talk, you know, go over different stuff with you. And so those 30 visits are very important in the process. And those I'll be looking forward to see who gets the 30 visits from Colorado. And as I start to get that information in, I'll make sure that I know Uncle Neely got that type of reads too. So we'll that's something I feel like we could present on a morning run to kind of, that'll be a good addition to talk about those 30 visits as well.
Absolutely. Because that's what, once these invite bowls wrap up and your next things on the calendar are the combine in Indianapolis, and then your pro days at your individual schools, or perhaps even your conference pro days, you know, like a Big 12 did last year for everybody in the conference. In between those dates, you know, players without much fanfare or announcement, this is the part of the smoking room process. They get on planes and they fly to team headquarters and they meet with people, might do a workout or do these kind of evaluations and that kind of thing. And all that happens without it necessarily being broadcast beforehand. But you better believe between Duke, Tasu, Chico, and Old Unk, we're going to let you know not only where the guys of Colorado have been visiting, but just college football wide.
He ain't lying. Nope, he's not lying. Before we get up out of here, we got some things to talk about as far as Cam Newton on First Take with Stephen A. Smith. Cam was asking, and we talked about this last night on Uncle Chico, but I got to get Duke's take on this, being that he's from the ATL, where Cam Newton is from. Cam's had this to say when Stephen A. basically asked him, would you give back the league MVP for a Super Bowl championship? Would you do it? And Cam said, nope, defiantly. What do you think about Cam Newton saying nope to that?
He told the truth. He told his truth. Like Cam Newton, literally. I mean, you just got to keep it a buck, man. When you watch it, the way he texts on Instagram, the way he dresses, and the things that he says all line up together. Like some of his takes, they all line up together. I mean, so at the end of the day, that wasn't surprising at all. Like, some people, and that was his truth. He wanted to make, he wants to be sure if he's the guy on the group project, that if he does more than everybody else, he gonna let the teacher know. He's like, hey, nah, bro ain't been here for 2 days. Nah, I did that. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, if that's how you are, as long as you this is my thing. This is the reason why I'm okay with everything that Cam Newton does. Because I see it coming. I know who he is. Not like, in a bad way. See, there's like this is one of my old sayings or whatever. If it's a snake outside your door, right? And you my buddy, and I don't tell you it's a snake outside the door, you go out there and get bit, that's on me. But if it's a snake outside your door and you walk out there and I tell you like, hey, it's a snake outside that door, and you go anyway, then that ain't you get what I'm saying? That ain't on me because you knew what it was. So why are you acting surprised? Because you know what it is. And if I walk out that door and get bit, then I know what it is. So when I see these shocking takes by Cam Newton, they don't shock me. They be like, oh, that's Cam. Like Cam on that, bro. He still like everything about him is individualized. If I don't think it, and so that's consistent for his brand, individualized, and it's okay. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be. What I am saying is that he can go in there tomorrow and say, you know what, I'm changing my name to Cam. I'm not gonna be surprised. Cam ain't no Newton. It's just Cam. It was only me because I did this for myself. Okay, cool. I wouldn't even trip. Like, because that's Cam. So I think it's just on brand for Cam Newton. And shoot, I don't think it's a bad thing. That's what he wants. And I ain't never had a chance to play in the Super Bowl, so it's gonna be hard for me to say how I would feel.
You know what's amazing, Chico, is Dukes and I had completely different answers, but the same explanation.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Like we had the same explanation. Like what I said last night, Dukes, is that he's lying, but he's only lying to protect the Cam brand that he has created. He knows damn well that if he could have won a Super Bowl and not won an MVP, he would have took that fork in the road. But because he's built up the Cam the way the Cam is, he has to say that answer. Because even functionally, and then Chico tried to accuse me of shooting shots when I was just saying what happened. Even functionally, this is the brother who didn't dive on the ball in Super Bowl.
Hey, I just brought up the fact that Antonio Brown with CTESPN shared that. He was like, Cam, you out here jumping on helicopters in Special Forces episodes. You can dive on the ball in the Super Bowl. You got your priority.
So I look at a guy who won the Heisman Trophy and won a national championship at Auburn. And so he knows the feeling of both. Won the MVP in the league, did not get a Super Bowl win, but played in one. And I'm not talking about the Cam now, like wave a magic wand. I'm talking about the Cam then. If you would have stopped time like you, Dr. Strange, and said, hey, you go on this fork of the road to get an MVP, you can go this fork of the road to get a Super Bowl. And I'm saying that the Cam then would have took Super Bowl, but the Cam that reality actually happened for, he can't say that because he's created this Cam Newton mystique. And what I did was last night, I flipped it, Duke. I said, what if you could ask Lamar Jackson about one of his MVPs where he take that or a Super Bowl because he hadn't been able to get over that hump? You ain't telling me Lamar wouldn't put one of them MVPs down because Lamar hadn't created that it's all about me mystique and I got to live up to that. Lamar wants to win a Super Bowl more than he wants to be an MVP.
Yeah, he done it before. He's done it at such a high level where it's like he got pick one. I got a few of these. The scarcity for him is different.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And but you
Yeah.
also made a point last night that Cam won a national championship and the Heisman, so he knows how it feels.
Yeah, he has that luxury to be able to present the mystique that way. But in here, if you got that joker just at the ball one of y'all talking, he won a Super Bowl, man. Stop.
I want a Super Bowl.
Just like Charles Barkley wants a championship.
And he won the MVP.
You know you want one, dog. Stop playing.
Because at the end of the day, if you win the Super Bowl, it still gives you the chance to be the Super Bowl MVP, right? And more than likely, that quarterback is going to get that. So,
well, it also gets you in the club figuratively and literally. When you have the Pro Bowl taking place and you have Super Bowl weekend coming up, what you do right now in New Orleans, they have events that only champions could get in.
Yes,
it doesn't matter who you are and what you accomplish. If you don't have a ring, you can't get in here. Same thing in the NBA. They have events for champions only. You could have been the defensive rebound of the year. You could have been assist leader of the year. But if you don't have a championship ring, you can't come in here because you ain't a champion.
Exactly.
Everybody wants that championship ring. You don't go to the league to be MVP. You go to the league to win a championship.
You can't get into NFL events unless you have an NFL player card. You know, you got to pull out that player card to make sure that, hey, I'm an NFL player. I went to one of these events. I pulled out my other player card. It was like, no, player.
Every day I come real close to saying the N-word on the air with him. Yeah, he got right there. He got right there. I had to pull it back.
Man. You made a real good point too, which is that brand protection. And I think, man, like as far as like that's something that we don't talk about enough, when especially in Colorado, where you talk about brand protection. It's something that Colorado has provided to their players, because when you got that CU on, you got it's not only a CU and a call for fans, but it's also a target, and that target comes along with Coach Prime. So I think brand protection and the way that people move and what they say and how measured and calculated they have to be is really important. I think so for Cam. I never thought about it being brand protection, but yeah, you're right. Like he got to protect that brand because he doubled down on it.
Last week, I had the clippers out and wanted to shave my beard down so bad, and then I thought about, damn, that's my logo.
Yeah.
Like that's my beard is my logo now. Man. I got to protect the brand. I might get eat some here and there, but I was gonna take it down like to your height, Deuce, to Chico height. And I went in and I said, damn, that's right. I had to get my logos made over. Like I got to protect the brand. So when I say this thing, I'm not attacking Cam. I'm just acknowledging that, man. One time when you birth a monster, you got to feed the monster.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
indeed.
he has birthed this post-Cam monster. Once he got past, trying to get back in the league and that didn't stick, he created this mystique that he has to say answers like that. Like, because that's who he is. And like you said, look at his wardrobe, the way he carries himself, the way him and Peggy do the show together.
Cam one of a kind, dog. Cam one of a kind.
One of a kind, man.
I'll say this.
He gonna say the contrary answer.
Right. And how in the hell you get up every day and put all that stuff on? That's another meaning to put that ish on. Like Antonio Brown said, put the ish on. He really put that ish on. This man have a bow tie.
And don't give a damn how it's tied. It look like Colonel Sanders' bow tie. It should be
a football jersey, the hats he's promoting. All man, shout out to Cam Newton, man. Do your thing. Don't let anybody influence you. Same thing to you, Uncle Neely. Don't worry about it, man. Cut your beard if you want to cut it.
Dog, I'm a grown ass man. I cut what I want to cut and keep my pubic hair if I want to. Shout out to Keisha in Love.
You talking about being that close to saying the N-word.
Shout out to Keisha in Love. Keisha in Love said he got 8 kids and no money. He needed that Super Bowl ring right now to pawn it. Keisha, come on, dog. That man got bread. Stop playing. Don't do that, man. Like
he
that.
He did say, about taking care of his kids the same way he took care of them when he played, when he was getting that check. I think that's what people are thinking that. He might be broke or something. No, dog.
It ain't coming every Tuesday like it used to come.
It's just like Lil Duval said on his post the other day when someone posted that upscale luxury, like this guy brought his 16-year-old daughter a $500 million yacht. And Lil Duval, of course, who's a celebrity, woke up and said, damn, this just made me realize how poor I am. And he said, now all of y'all out there watching my post, wake your poor ass up. So it's levels to this. Like y'all watching me and I'm watching them. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Lil Duval and everybody else.
I'm watching my damn self.
I'm watching my damn self, dog. We're gonna get up out of here in a second, but we got to cover the NBA real quick. We got 2 topics on the NBA. One, they're talking about shortening the quarters to 10 minutes instead of 12. So instead of a 48-minute ball game, you got a 40-minute ball game, correct? Shortening it down. And the NBA broadcast games are usually 2 hours and 15 minutes. That'll cut that down. Sponsorships goes down, ad goes down, viewership goes up. What do y'all think about that? Players play longer?
Let me say this to it, man. you know, as games evolve, rules have to change. You know, I was alive when there was no 3-point line. You know, I've seen illegal defense come and go, shot clock variations come and go. The one thing I would only ask if the NBA were to do this, we've got to be more. Like I'm in the NBA, like I'm Adam Silver or something. We got to be more like baseball. You're going to have to start categorizing these records and when they took place. You can't sit here and take minutes off the clock and then let somebody else score this many points and say they broke the record. You know, it's almost like, shout out to Saquon Barkley and what he did this year with the 2,000 plus, but O.J. Simpson did it in 12 games. Eric Dickerson did it in 14 games. You do it in 17 games. It's not the same damn record. So if you want to shorten the game, if you want to add a 3-point line or move it back or move it closer, if you want to raise the rim, you know, 6 inches because everybody can dunk now, do what you do. But you have to have, starting now, these are the records and those were the records then. You can't have some guy, you know, playing less minutes in a game and hitting just as many threes and saying he got it now. No, he don't.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only problem.
Yeah. I think I don't know what's going on in the NBA, man. First of all, we never cared about the 12-minute quarters because they were scoring less. But when they put more of an emphasis on not defense and start scoring more, what they didn't realize is that we like that people really like the spirit of competition more than anything.
Yeah.
Like we like the fact that people worried how hard it was to score back in the day. The fights that you did see back in the day, because bro, you fouled me too hard. You fouled me like that. You touched me like that again. You know, it's gonna be something. Like, well, that's gone. It's like, you know, everybody's homeboys, right? You don't see a lot of those that tough physical play because what? They're shooting the ball from 45 feet. And that's what these kids want to do. The tough kids are playing football now. I mean, to be honest, every now and then you see a throwback, like Isaiah Collier, throwback. Scoot Henderson, throwback. Like outside of the way they're built. Usually those guys with those type of body types, they're not going to the NBA no more. They playing outside linebacker or they playing free safety. And I think that if the NBA wants to there's two things I think they can do. A, if you're gonna shorten the games, to play a series like baseball does. Do something different, maybe 1-on-1 something. And then two, less games. Like everybody, you know, when people watch the NBA in April, in April, maybe a little bit late March, but we'll watch the playoffs, we'll watch the finals. But now, like, it's so much stuff I can say wrong with the NBA. They changing all the jerseys. You turn on the game, you don't know who playing who.
Like, what is that?
Like, who is this team?
The courts, like
The courts look like NBA Street game we used to play back in the day.
And they doing all that, Dukes, as you articulated very well. They're doing all that because viewership is down, but they're not addressing the reason viewership is down. That's because it's not a competitive product. It's too easy to score. There's too many games throughout the week. Man, I remember being down here in Jackson, having season tickets up to the Memphis Grizzlies, and had this thing with my kids that whoever had the best grades for the first 2 9 weeks, the fall semesters, we going courtside for the Memphis Grizzlies game, the MLK game. And back then, the Grizzlies and whoever they played were the only MLK game. No other games were played that day. Man, now it's like 20 damn games that day, man. It's even watered down the MLK celebration. There's nothing special about the one in Memphis anymore. It's just too damn much, and it's too soft, and it's not competitive. But I just say to the commissioner, if you are going to do this or any other changes, you have to also separate the records that were accomplished during those changes.
Exactly.
Agreed.
I was going to say early reports from this season is showing that a 19% decrease in average viewership across ABC, ESPN, and TNT. Approximately 1.4 million viewers, down from 1.6 million in 2023, 2024. Is it because of the increased three-point shooting, competition from other sports, like the overlapping from major events like the NFL season and the World Series? What do y'all think is the main reason for it? Is it the gameplay or just people not watching the NBA?
I think every reason has an impact, but the biggest reason is the gameplay. I think it's just a soft product now. It's not a competitive product. Man, I can remember looking forward to All-Star Weekend because of the three-point contest, the dunk contest, and a competitive-ass game against superstars. They done had to change that game up so much because jokers don't want to play defense or compete. You know, it used to mean something. And whether you got to get the money up, get the home court advantage for whoever wins it up, I don't know what you got to do to get the competitive back, but no one even cares about the All-Star break anymore. because it's
Right.
trash. It's just, skills.
Isn't it going on right now, or isn't it going on like the skills challenge or something? I thought I saw on YouTube the skills challenge just
That's
went
the
on.
Pro Bowl is the same way. NFL views are up, but the Pro Bowl is horrible now. Man, they play
Terrible.
flag football. I remember jokers out there still headhunting in the Pro
Yeah,
Bowl.
Sean Taylor. Remember he smashed that punter who
Yeah.
tried. Yeah, he smashed one. So I think all of that stuff changed probably after that big hit. They like we gotta protect the players. After like a player like LeBron James saying I'm not going to participate in the dunk contest, so that brings it level of value, the value level down because he's
Well,
not going to compete in it.
used to get in the dunk contest to get paid, as in get endorsements and get a shoe deal. Well, now when I got a damn shoe deal and all this money, what I'm gonna risk that for losing this dunk contest?
Exactly.
I ain't getting in that.
It's risk versus reward nowadays. It's like if I go here and I don't win the dunk contest and I'm LeBron James, what is that going to do to my brand? Well, I would say actually nothing. I don't think, but they feel like it'll bring it down, some diminish it a little bit. So we'll see. Last thing I want to ask you guys about before we get about it, I know we're over time a little bit, but we got the NBA All-Star selections being made. Teams are filled now. The Eastern Conference team has, of course, Giannis, Donovan Mitchell, Karl Anthony Towns, Jason Tatum, and Jalen Brunson as their starters. But one glaring missing is, y'all let me know. Here's the reserves: Jaylen Brown, Pascal Siakam, Cade Cunningham, Darius Garland, Damian Lillard, Evan Mobley, and Tyler Hero. What is the Eastern Conference name that you're not hearing
Kyrie.
on that Eastern Conference? Kyrie Western. He's in
Oh,
Dallas now, right?
Dallas. Okay, all right. So no one out here. So what you said? Hero from Miami. Who else?
Hero from Miami, Lillard from the Bucks, Evan Mobley from the Cavs, Darius Garland from the Cavs, Jaylen Brown from the Celtics, Siakam from the Pacers, and Cade Cunningham from the Pistons.
You got the other Jalen from New York on there as a starter?
Jason Tatum. Oh, Jalen Brunson from New York is the starter.
Okay, all right. I thought I missed
there's
it.
a guard in the Eastern Conference. I help you guys out. There's a guard in the Eastern Conference that's averaging more points than 1, 2, 3.
He number 4. He number 4 in the league.
He's number 4 in the league, and he's averaging more than any of these reserve guards. And that is LaMelo Ball. His brother has the number 1 single right now. LaMelo Ball is balling out, but he is not in the NBA All-Star game. Do you think it's because he's in the bottom, next to last?
12 wins.
Conference. Got 12, only 12 wins.
Charlotte, man.
It's because he plays in Charlotte.
Man, so a lot of people think that he's not in there because he played for Charlotte. They got 12 wins, and he's just doing what he want to do. It's like not a good brand of basketball, which I feel like is totally like, I'm like, bro, like now you picking and choosing what's good and what's not. Because at the end of the day, he's a product of the new NBA where you shoot what you want to do. You're doing out like he's a product of that where you can volume check it. Like when you look at his percentage, somebody just put in the group, like they put it in the chat, shooting 30% from 3 and chucking up 8 attempts per game.
Yeah.
Per game. They telling the truth. He a volume shooter, right? And so like when you look at the process where you got players and coaches, they don't make LaMelo Ball the place where you're gonna take a stand. Like don't take a stand there. Do it for the whole league, and you wouldn't have this problem. But y'all go take a stand and keep this man out there like one of the most popular young players in the NBA. That's who you want in the game to help you get more viewers.
Yes.
He's a young star. Bring his brother. His brother should be rapping there and not the NFL. But when you look at it too, but that style of game, when it comes to coaches and purists, they look down upon it. You know who else was snubbed? Who has a similar game? Maybe not as reckless, but Trae Young.
Trae Young. Now, see, I think that goes to your argument of being a volume shooter. Trae Young, in my opinion, is that quintessential volume shooter. That's what he is.
And you know what? But guess what? He toned it down this year. This is his least amount. He's only averaging 22 a game. He's leading the league in assists. But his lack of playing defense, and he's even playing better defense this year.
Defense too, yeah.
But when it comes to those basketball purists who are the final key holder when it comes to making the votes for the reserves, that's who's keeping him off the All-Star game. It ain't the fans, because I believe, I ain't mistaken, LaMelo Ball led the fan vote, or if he was close.
Yeah.
Like, so at the end of the day, how do you keep him out of the game? It's the purists, it's the gatekeepers who are saying that this is bad, but don't gatekeep at the wrong time. This an all-star game setting is what you want Trae Young and LaMelo Ball doing. You don't want to see
feel
people who run pick and rolls and all the, who do everything right in the back screens and all. Nah, bro.
Someone who you might feel like is a product of being on a good team, like you might say a Darius Garland. Shout out to Darius Garland, who's a baller now, but at the end of the day, what is he
no
averaging?
name recognition. So
right, no name recognition.
No name
recognition. Part of the name recognition challenge is the NBA chooses who it promotes. When they do these deals with TNT or ESPN or ABC, all the same company, to some degree, like these stories are cherry picked about who they put the limelight on, the spotlight on. Like, yeah, you may have a 50-point game and they discuss you in the highlights, but when they do packages and promotions and they talk about this person and the team versus this person and the team, that stuff is cherry picked, man. And so, like you said, the purists, the gatekeepers want to keep it about certain people that fit a certain narrative. I still stand behind this. Now I'm going to go off the rails here and go football, but I still stand behind this as far as gatekeeping. The reason Marshawn Lynch didn't get that ball in the Super Bowl is because he would have been the game MVP and he would have been the one that had to say, I'm going to Disney World. And they said, no.
We can't have that. What you were going to say earlier.
We can't have that word. And so they threw the ball and lost because the gatekeeper's like, hey, man, that's the play to call. But y'all know if he scored, he going to be the MVP of the game.
Like we would rather
put up with this.
Right. Unbelievable. They were
If
rather
they make it about losing the game. I say that to say, if you slow walk with me, if they make it about LaMelo, they got to deal with making it about LaMelo. You got to feed the brand monster you create, and they just trying to like, no. We finally got that Joker daddy quiet. Like, you stay your ass over there in Charlotte and just keep shooting. You ain't getting in this game.
He's smart enough and popular enough to put his logo on his neck so that when the NBA is shooting the games and stuff, you see his logo. So I think they had an issue a couple years ago asking him to cover it up or whatever because they can't be promoting your brand for you. So I think that might play into it also as the guy's averaging more points. And I was going to say this, Garland is averaging 21 points, 6 assists. Let me round it up. 22 points, 7 assists, and 2 rebounds, right? And LaMelo is killing that right now. What is he averaging? Number 4 in the league. You had it right there, Dukes. Let me see. I think he was averaging 26.
Yeah, 28.
28. I had it right here, but I lost it right there. But point is, he's averaging more than these guys. He's averaging 28 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, and he's 4th in the league in scoring. Damian Lillard, he's with the Bucks though, 25.7 assists and 5 rebounds. I just gave you Darius Garland's number, so I think he definitely, with the fan vote plus the popularity, I think he definitely should be in the All-Star game some type of way. But we'll see how the rest of this works out as the Western Conference is also being named. No surprises there. Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, SGA, and Nikola Jokic are the starters. And the reserves are Anthony Edwards, Anthony Davis, Jaren Jackson Jr., James Harden, Alperen Sengun from the Rockets, and Jalen Williams. And followed up also by Victor Wembanyama making his first appearance in the Western Conference. Any snubs there on the West, or what do y'all think about that team?
No snubs. It's hard to imagine that Kyrie didn't even make reserve because what he's doing with Dallas is, I think, special enough, if not starting to be on the reserve team.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. Like I would agree. I would say it would be hard to pull. When I look at snubs, I look at who would you pull for him. Right. It would be hard to pull somebody off of that team. The West been playing pretty good basketball. I think. What's my man? Kyrie said it, and not Kyrie. From the Clippers. He lead the Clippers in scoring.
Yeah,
James Harden.
No.
The dude is playing while
Norman Powell.
Clippers. Norman Powell. Norman Powell definitely snubbed.
Yeah, Norman Powell going
off.
But
I think it's that name recognition once again. A guy who's been, like a career 6-man, so to speak, and now he's leading the team in scoring. But you got James Harden making it. I think it's because of that name recognition. But that kind of, goes against what we were arguing about with LaMelo.
I agree with you, Chico. James is there was because of some name recognition, but the numbers also supported. He's resurrected his game song. And not the problem child he looked at. And that was the same thing I was saying about a Kyrie. I'm gonna hold back on saying it's a snub, but I think his name ID and what Dallas is doing, should have got him on the bench. But from a basketball standpoint or number standpoint, when you got a Kawhi Leonard who ain't played, hell, since I shot a ball, and then Powell coming in doing those numbers, he absolutely should be on there. Like numbers wise, he should be an all-star at the West.
Off the top. And let me see the West. The Clippers are number 6 in the West. The Mavs are number 8. So maybe because of the record, once again, is why Harden got the nod over Kyrie Irving, who's averaging 24, and Harden is averaging 21, 22. So,
well, like with the way it go now, 6 through what is it? What keep you out of the play-in? 6.
What do you get to the 8th spot? 8th.
I think it's 6 to 10. You in the play-in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the crazy part about it, the 6th team in the West is probably the 3rd team in the East.
Yep. Yeah. If you look at the standings and how it goes like that.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
So it's always one conference is going to be more dominant than the other, I think. But right now the Thunder is leading the West 37-9. Do y'all think they're going to make it to the finals? And last topic, is Nikola Jokic the NBA MVP once again?
Man.
I'm gonna say go to the finals. I'm gonna say
the guy has more triple doubles this past month than many players have in their whole career. Players like Jason Tatum and stuff like
that. I gotta say yes to it just off the eyeball test, but I gotta say no because the season is so long. Let me get to April before I say that's apparent, right? But now if the season ended with the All-Star break, is him again.
Yeah.
All right.
And then when it comes to SGA and the Thunder going to the finals, they probably should on paper, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. SGA, he got the numbers, but this really ain't got nothing to do with him. It got everything to do with my fandom. Now, of course, my favorite player in the league is Anthony Edwards. So, of course, I got to say that's who's going to the finals. Like, every year I'm going to root for him. So, I'm the president of the Atlanta Timberwolves. Basically, just like everybody for the city that know that's a real from
right.
That word. Yeah.
That word.
You know what I'm saying? So where we are with it, that's the only reason I'm saying that. And hopefully they get it together in Minnesota, man. I think it's been a clunky fit with Julius Randle coming over and Dante DiVincenzo, but I think now they're starting to play Rob with the shifts, Rob Dillingham, who's another one of those guys who's going to you're going to need him to help elevate the NBA, because right now we don't look at TV, we look at social media before we look at anything. It used to be growing up, we had to turn on ESPN before we did anything else.
Mm-hmm.
SportsCenter was going, if you had it, SportsCenter was going at all times. And when I didn't have cable, I had to sit through the news to watch the last 10 minutes or 5 minutes so I could see the sports. Mm-hmm. But now, the first thing, the way that the new generation, what they doing is they grab this thing right here, first and foremost.
Yep.
And if you have a social media game, that's what I call it, a social media game. LaMelo Ball, social media game for sure. Things that he does, like they're able to generate advertising through social media because he has a social media game. So Darius Garland may not have that social media game, right? But right now, NBA players like the gatekeepers or the coaches are going to say, if I need to win the game tomorrow, who wants to help me win this game? Who's going to do all of the right things the right way? I'm going to take Darius Garland.
Right.
So
true point guard.
Yeah, for sure. So, but I do think that, to your point, like I think that on paper, SGA probably is the MVP and they are the favorites in the West on paper. But how I think it's gonna go, I think Ant-Man goes to the finals and for the first time. And I think I don't know. I think SGA might get that. I think SGA probably will get the MVP by the time it's all said and done. The number's too crazy.
Yeah. Hopefully he does, but I think Jokic is just doing crazy numbers, also doing things that's never been done. And even though I hate to say it, I think he might be the MVP once again. That's going to put him in some legendary status to win another one, though. So
yeah, he is. I just can't look at the bad built Joker's legendary though. He's just goofy to me, man.
I just think that the team runs stuff through him. If facilitates his offense through him, which gives him the opportunity to get all those, points and rebounds and assists. But hey, I digress. We'll get into some more topics once again on the next show on the morning run.
That'll be Monday morning.
That'll be Monday morning on the morning run. You get the best and the biggest takes and the best energy right here in all the sports world, NBA, MLB, NFL, college football, whatever it is.
And to my partners, Duke to School, BiggDogg, Chico, and to most importantly the chat, I will make you this commitment. Yes. I will not eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch for dinner on Sunday night. That way we can start the show on time on Monday morning. You have my commitment.
Come on now, dog.
You have my word.
Come on, man.
Well, y'all heard Uncle Neely. Y'all hold him to that. All right. Until the next time, for Phillip Dukes, Uncle Neely, I'm BiggDogg Chico. We're going to be up and about of this thing. Once again, the morning run. Peace in the Middle East. Yeah.
Another one.
Another one.